God is self-existent. Nothing created God. He created all things, and he doesn't live for anything. All things live for him. In Exodus chapter 3 verse 14, it said, go tell the children of Israel, I am that I am have sent you. What it means is that I will be what I will be. I am what I am. Nothing can affect my realm. I affect every realm. So when God tells you that tomorrow is covered, you can go and sleep. There's nothing in the universe that can stop it, because he's not living for anything. Everything is living for him. He has the power to occasion his own existence. Everything on earth can vanish, God will remain. But if God vanishes, nothing will remain. And so on the strength of that, you can build your life on God. Are you following this? He is immutable, he is eternal, and he is self-existent. It's on the strength of his self-existence that if God tells you today that go, it is well, or he can tell you your account will be credited. Nobody may send you money. That is not enough to stop him, because he is self-existent. Anything he says becomes. And even if there is no raw material for it, his words become the raw material. That's why the Bible said he creates all things by the word of his power. So when God talks, it is futility to look for how it will happen. It says, as thou knowest not how the bones are formed in the womb of her that is with child, so also knowest not thou the ways of the Spirit. So when God speaks to you, you don't ask questions, you obey, because he is self-sufficient. He is self-sufficient. He doesn't need food to eat. If he wants to eat, food will appear. He is the creator of all things. He is self-sufficient. He is omnipotent. Omnipotent simply means he has all power to do all things. Nothing is impossible with God. And then he has the power to put his power under his will. That means God will not do anything that is not the will of God. Are you following this? Revelation 19 verse 6, it said, the Lord God omnipotent reigneth. See, our God is a king. He reigns. Even in death, he reigns. There is nothing that can stop God. He is all powerful. And when you know that you are in a relationship with the all-powerful God, nothing will scare you anymore. See, Christians don't have faith. Christians don't have assurance, because they think God is like the president of their country that is not reliable. They think God is like the president of their country that certain things can overwhelm him. Our God is omnipotent. Nothing can overpower him. If God tells you it is done, it is done. That is how it is. That's the one we are dealing with. And then he is omniscient. That means he knows all things. God cannot learn. It's impossible to teach God, because he has all knowledge. And he doesn't just have all knowledge, he has all knowledge at all times in all things. So there is nothing happening that takes God unawares. This is why even your prayer is not the lingo that affects God's realm. Before you spoke, he knows what's in your mind. It's your faith that makes your prayer powerful. You know, some people come to pray, they think they have not convinced God enough, and they reduce the quality and potency of their prayer to grammar. That's not what makes the difference. If you know that God knows before you ask, you will have rest even while you are yet asking. And when you are done asking, you know that even the one you didn't ask is covered, because he is omniscient. And he's not just omniscient, he is omnipresent. That means he is everywhere at every time in every time. And I wish I'm able to explain that to you in simple terms. God is everywhere now. If that was all, that would have been powerful enough. But that's not all. God is still in everywhere in every time. At every time is different from in every time. At every time means in the present. So in the whole of today, you can say God has always been around in every time. But when you now discover that God is not just at every time, but in every time, what it means is that God is still in yesterday. You have left yesterday, God is still in yesterday. And you have not entered tomorrow, God is already in tomorrow. That's omnipresent. He is still in yesterday. If he leaves yesterday, creation will collapse. Because if yesterday is removed from the equation, the earth can't sustain. Creation can't sustain. So the reason you are sure of tomorrow is because you have yesterday. And the reason yesterday still remains yesterday is because God is still there. So for God, everything is now. That's why you can trust him with your future. That's why you can trust him with the future of your children, because you are the one who has a future. God has no future. His future and his past is now. He's in every moment now. Everything for him is a perpetual continuum. That's the one we are serving. So this is what makes him God. And there's no other being that has these qualities. Only God possesses these qualities. And this is why we call him God. And all of the things I've enumerated here are just his essential attributes. He also has moral attributes. And I give you 4 of them very quickly. Number 1, God is holy. And holiness means he is in his own class. There's nothing that can come into that class. God cannot share that realm with anybody. And because of that, he is incorruptible. Because there is no foreign or alien reality in his reality. So where God is undefilable. Where God is sinless. Where God is in his own class. So when God does things, you know that God has done it. You can't mistake it. He's a holy God. He has the power to dwell in his realm, uncontaminable. And he's not just holy, he is also righteous, absolutely righteous. And righteousness is not sinlessness. Righteousness is the ability to be right at all times, in all times. And so what that means is that righteousness is not just ability to be accurate. Righteousness is a power. You know why? As we are seated here, you think you are wearing a blue suit. If God looks at you and says your white suit is fine, if you look at your suit, you'll be shocked that it's white. You'll be surprised that you never knew the color since you bought it. So he doesn't just have all the information that makes him accurate. He has the power so that anything he says is so. That's the meaning of righteousness. That's why God cannot lie. Because anything God says becomes true. It is a power that is with God, and it's called righteousness. And that's not all. God is also love. In 1 John chapter 4 verse 8, the Bible says God is love. It's on the strength of the fact that God is love that we can relate with him. Because the love of God is not emotion. Emotion is part of it. But the love of God is the ability God has to give himself unconditionally. This is why even while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5 verse 8. So you don't qualify for God's love. You don't deserve God's love. He loves you unconditionally. And so Jesus told us to come boldly before the throne of grace and obtain mercy. The reason whether we are living right or living wrong, we still go to God, is because of his love. Because his love creates accommodation for everybody to come and receive help. You see, but many Christians don't know the love of God. That's why they think they have merit with God, and they only come to God when they are right. When they are wrong, they feel, they have lost their right. They have lost their standing. Brother, it's when you are wrong that you need God the most. And his love creates an accommodation to help you. I'm telling you this because this is the foundation of quality Christianity. Most of you can't ask God for things. You know why? You feel you don't have some qualification. If I was an apostle, maybe I would have made that demand. If I was a prophet, maybe I would have made that demand. In fact, some of you are happy today because you say, oh, if this is the apostle, my problem is over. What you didn't know is that I have no power to solve your problem. The one that has power to solve your problem has always been with you in your bedroom. But the thing is that you didn't know that his love already opened the door to give you everything you ask. In fact, the way the love of God works is that even the things we didn't qualify for, he made it our right, so that we don't have to beg. He said, as many as believed him, to them, he didn't say he gave the privilege to become the sons of God. He said to them, he gave the right. So what we should beg for, God doesn't want us to beg. He wants us to demand it as if it's our right. That's how the love of God works. So that every one of us will operate like a king on earth. So when I make declaration with boldness, I'm not saying it because I'm special. I'm saying it because there is a love that has arrested me. And that love will give me anything I desire. That's why Paul, speaking in Romans 8:32, he said, if he did not withhold his only begotten son, but gave him freely for us, how shall he not with him give us all things? The day you know the love of God, your crises are over. Because you can ask for anything. I told my people, I say, I will never do small things in my life again. Because I discovered God has given me his best and is willing to give me any other thing. And so if God is willing to give me anything I ask, I better ask for the best and the best only, because that's what God gives. But all of that is routed into the love nature of God. And that's not all. God is faithful. God is dependable. God is trustworthy. That's the fourth moral attribute of God.